lot of roaches, and those roaches being split up pretty successfully by these force fields, although there is a ton of roaches left over and some zerglings coming too, and the sentry's going down. He's not going to be able to pull off those force field shenanigans anymore, and he really needs to get that layer tech up so that he can go ahead and get that speed upgrade for his roaches, and there is no layer on the way as of right now, as you can see. So these slow roaches going to have a very hard time moving around the map. There's still only one cannon defending the ramp, so if Blossom can manage to hold this off and do a counter push, he will be in pretty good shape, it looks like. But Gemini, meanwhile, going to expand behind this pressure and trying to poke again, but realizing that that is a bad idea because there are a lot of roaches here, although as soon as the roaches get off creep, they are hella slow. And unfortunately, it looks like no rally point set on the expansion hatchery there. There we go. The drone's going to mine here. Needs to get that. There is the rally point. Okay, great, great, great. Good stuff. We're seeing a lot more drones. Blossom starting to pull ahead pretty significantly here in the harvester advantage. You can see that he's got 8 harvesters more than our Protoss player Gemini now, so going to be in a pretty good spot economically, and with that many queens, going to be able to spread a ton of creep. So as long as he stays on top of that, he should be in pretty good shape here, and the expansion for Gemini is still not up and running yet, so he is going to be behind on the economic game pretty heavily here for a bit, especially with that harvester count being in Blossom's favor so heavily. I definitely think it's almost time for him to take a third base here, just as Gemini's second base is getting up and running to keep that economic advantage. I'll be interested to see if he goes for the safer base that's a little bit further away, or if he tries to go for that base in the middle, which of course Gemini would be aware of because he does have a pylon up there spotting that location. Was also going to use that for some warp-in proxy units so that he could actually continue the pressure, but Blossom was able to successfully push that back without really losing a whole heck of a lot. So very, very good play from Blossom so far and doing a great job spreading the creep. Look at all these creep tumors. This is going to allow his army to be so mobile. The Zerg is going to be in great position to move around the front of their base, even without that roach speed upgrade, although it looks like it has just started, so that is on the way. And once that speed upgrade finishes, that is fast. Those are faster than any Protoss unit on the ground, except for Zealots with charge. And here comes the third base. Very good timing from Blossom on that third base, getting that up and running just when he needed to, maintaining that economic advantage. And we're going to see some speedlings moving out from Blossom, just going to constantly be scouting the map, checking for hidden bases, and he is going to see that he is in pretty good shape, as Gemini is just now getting up his expansion here and does not even have the gases there, so not going to be able to tech a whole heck of a lot. He is getting the +1 ground upgrade for his army, and going to go ahead and throw down a proxy pylon there, make sure that there is no Nidusworm shenanigans behind the line of sight blockers, and that is something that you don't see nearly enough as Nidusworm play. Although I must admit, back in the day when it was still pretty novel and not a whole lot of people were prepared to deal with it, dropping Nidus behind these line of sight blockers, one of the most fun things in the world to do. But anyways, that is definitely something that people look out for a little bit more now. And of course, you see a lot of people placing supply depots back there, overlords back there, pylons back there, just something to keep an eye on it. That way they are not caught off guard by something like that. And we're actually transitioning into a pretty epic game between these two players, considering that it started off with a 6-pool rush that didn't do a whole lot other than take down a forge and force him to build a lot of cannons. Well, I guess only 2 cannons, but still, that many cannons that early. He had to cut a lot of probes. By the time the rush was over, he only had 11 harvesters, which is definitely not where you want to be. And here comes Gemini once again, pushing out with his favorite unit combination here, apparently, just Stalkers, Zealots, and Sentries. And there are a ton of roaches to deal with this right now. And some Speedlings getting in the mix there too, trying to get up there and force some of these units to come back and fight. Getting some pot shots off as they try to run away, and the force field's going up, but not that great placement. There we go, getting a few more, splitting up that army a little bit more, although the roach is not going anywhere. He is using a queen to transfuse as well, and these roaches are doing a pretty good job, but as these force fields continue to go down, just splitting the forces off for the Zerg player Blossom here, it looks like he is starting to lose a little bit of an edge here, although here comes more queens, going to get in the fight and throw down some more transfusions here. Great control from our Zerg player, using queens very, very uniquely as an offensive push. With all that creep extending all the way across the map there, that is something that he has available to him, because of course queens are atrociously slow when they're off the creep, but if you've got the whole map covered in it, as we see Blossom has right now, it is a lot easier to move your queens around the map because they move so much quicker when they're on the creep. And here comes Gemini once again. He's got an Immortal in the mix, although one Immortal is not going to do a whole heck of a lot, and Gemini, realizing he's behind, is going to go ahead and go for that gold base to try to catch up. And here he comes with the Stalker's force once again. He does have 2 sentries and an Immortal mixed in again, but once again, that Immortal not going to be able to do a whole heck of a lot, but we'll see. He is, it looks like Blossom is just macroing up pretty hard here, continuing to power. If we look at the production menu, we can see that he is building some Mutalisk now. His Spire is finished. He does not have the +1 attack upgrade going yet, but it looks like he is producing some Mutalisks. And looking at the units overlay, we can see that he already has 4 out on the map, which it looks like are going to go ahead and harass here. So we'll see if he's able to do some damage here. These Mutalisks getting met immediately by a few Stalkers, and it looks like he is going to be able to take these Stalkers out. But, oh yeah, there you go, taking one out. And these Mutas taking a decent amount of damage here. One of them going to go down, but he does manage to take out the 2 Stalkers that were there for defense. And yeah, this is a bad idea. He needs to get these Mutas out of here because they are not going to win that fight. Although there's more Mutas coming. Excuse me, I stand corrected. Getting some help here. He's just going to take out a ton of Stalkers, just poking around here and there, trying to do some damage. And it looks like he is aware of the expansion from Gemini at the gold base, possibly just waiting for that to finish before he goes over and tries to kill it, because he does have a very large ground force here. A ton of roaches. As you can see on the unit overlay, he has 33 roaches to go with his 10 mutas and 25 speedlings as well. So a scary ground force from our from our Zerg player here, Blossom. And it looks like he's going to go back and once again try to do a little more harassment with these Mutalisks. And these 3 Stalkers are not going to be nearly enough to handle this many Mutalisks. These Mutalisks are going to take those Stalkers out with no issue and have free reign over the Protoss base as he is forced to engage this Roach army out in the front. Meanwhile, these Mutas are cleaning up a ton of workers here, and these Roaches actually look like they may win their battle out in the middle of the map as well. If we take a look at the income tab here, we can see the Harvester count just continuing to drop. For Gemini, he is down to 42 Harvesters against 59, so very, very bad position for him, and it looks like he may be able to hold off this push in the middle here, possibly. No, he is not. And the Mutalisk continuing to harass. The Harvester count now down to 30. A very, very big loss for Gemini, and he is going to GG. Game number 4 going to PPG Blossom. Great play from him, switching from that 6-pool tech into a longer macro game, getting up that 3rd base far before Gemini did, and just outpowering his opponent. Great play from PPG. We're going to move on into Game 5 now. The series tied up at 2-2. Each team has 2 players left, so they are going to duke it out until one team has run out of players. So hold on, sit tight for 1 second, get a refill on your drinks or snacks or whatever, and we'll be back for game number 5 here in just a little bit.